Hi everybody, it's Kathy here from Karma's Creations. Today I thought I'd do a little show and tell. Firstly, what I've got on the background here is a panel of a swing skirt by Alabama Channon. I enlarged the stencil pattern from one that's in the book, one of the books, and painted on the stencils. And yeah, when they're all stitched around, I'm using a not a running stitch, a back stitch. When they're all stitched around, the inside of the piece, it's called reverse applique, is cut out. The most popular or well-known type of reverse applique is Hawaiian quilting. Anyway, yeah, it's two layers of cotton knit fabric, and I've also upsized the pattern piece from the Alabama Channon patterns, because they go up to XL, which is Australian size 18-20, and I'm a little bit bigger than that. Okay, that's it until I show you more on that. Now, I've made quite a few little cloth books and big cloth books. Some of them are not here. Some have gone to other people. These are 3 little ones that I've made. I better check that it's in the middle. Yes. Now, 2 of them, sorry about any bits of me that might get in that picture. 2 of them, this one and this one, are straight needle books. This one I've just done a bit of, I meandered with my running stitch here, there and everywhere. Just didn't want to do a straight stitch because of the, all the straight lines anyway, so I meandered. This wooden button's just got handmade with love. I've used old table linens for the pages. I've made a little pocket out of that one for the thimble. It can be tightened up a little bit more. And I've put a little bit of the finest quilt wadding in there so that pins or needles can go in. It's just a very straightforward little grey and white pages. Bit of running stitch along the edge there where it's folded over. And I've actually done a proper hem here and here. I think I made this one before I started leaving them all raw hem. Outside is all blanket stitched. So there's that one. Now this one is also a needle book. I've cut a piece of embroidery off a doily, and I've stitched it over. This is a piece of fabric that I've dyed. This is another piece I've dyed, and this one is one I've dyed and put patterns on. I think it was the lid of something. And it's cantha stitched, a little bit of blingy tape along the braid, along the bottom, and some braid that's got like a tape measure along the top and 2 sides. This is just a piece of cardboard that I stitched in. It's very thick cardboard. It's that stuff that doesn't tear. Cloth board or something, cloth paper. It had my needle holder on it, magnet on the back and needle holder on the front. Now these pages I've left all raw. I haven't folded them over and done anything very elaborate. These are vintage Melwood needles. Got a little tiny bit of rust on them. I could take a piece of fine sandpaper and take it off and be able to use them. They're beautiful needles. A little bit of vintage silk that I picked up along the way and untangled and put on here. These are just some little labels that I might want to stitch into something sometime, or whoever gets the book want to stitch in. There's To You From Me, Cute as a Button, Stitched with Love, and Stitched with Love. I've used a bulb pin to hold it in. A little bit of old blanket there that I've stitched into pocket. Just the middle page. And I put a little bit of braid, a little bit of lace and a little bit of sari silk fabric there that somebody may want to use in their work one day. Little tiny lace pocket here, and I've just put, oh look, it's come undone. It's very fine. I think it's 16th inch ribbon. And I've just put some little buttons on there, little tiny buttons. Some of them are weeny little ones for dolls' clothes. And some of them are just little tiny ones. And then I just tuck that inside there so they don't get caught on anything. Another pocket, other side with the lace. And this is just a motif off a bedspread that I pulled apart, made into a pocket. This one now, I've done a little bit more elaborate, a bit more slow stitchy, if you want to call it that, on the back. A bit of collage, a few little motifs off a dress that was pulled apart, a little quilt one, another one there in a different colour. And I sewed the tie, which is a beautiful green velvet ribbon, onto the spine, upside down. In here I put a little heart that I've stitched and beaded. It's got felt on the back. I never ever got around to making it into a pin, so it's in there. A little stitchery that didn't get put into anything, made into anything. It's now a pocket. I have a motif pinned on there to be used somewhere else. I have some beads, some nice bugle beads in a beautiful, like petrol blue, in that little pocket. Some vintage ribbon on a vintage piece of cardboard. This little pocket made out of a piece of a doily. Quilt whiting page, just a little piece of floral there sewed down. A motif. Another lot of vintage ribbon and one of those little stitch cards that's got just enough thread to fill up the needle once. This little piece is half a doll's collar. A little bit of lace on the side there. Different coloured pieces, and these are just more like the one in the last one. This little book is more for keeping vintage things in, little bits and pieces you don't want to use, you just want to collect. Some little daisy embroidery. Gorgeous piece of old lace here I've made into a belly band to put something under. Just another little motif that might want to go on a doily, on a stitch piece. Another packet of old needles. I think pink ribbon. Oh, it's a little stick pin. This is the edge of the bedspread. I've dyed all the components different colours. Little butterfly and a little tiny flower. These are pieces of cross stitch, really fine cross stitch that's never been finished. So I've just cut them out and made them into motifs that can be stitched down. Motif off an old doily. Another piece of old cross stitch that was unfinished. A little tiny butterfly motif. Another piece of the bedspread that's been cut up, which he dyed. Almost finished. 2 more pieces to use in something. Or not. Another little cross stitch. A piece of that beautiful lace. I think it's needle lace. Made into a page and another pocket at the back. Doesn't have a home. It may be mine. It may be somebody else's as a present sometime in the future. Could be a prize. Who knows? Now the next lot of books. These are fabric book covers I've made. I've used a piece of beautiful fabric that I like. I've stitched into it a little bit of follow around the outsides. I've embroidered over the, very much like a like a stitch painting, but not. I've got beads on the points of each of these petals. I've got beads in here, beads in these flowers in the middle here. And just stitching around all the parts of the leaves and the flowers on the back. I make these covers and then you can use them on any book. This is my season 1 and 2 of the Great Big Little Stitchery swap book. This is a swap that was devised and run over on Annie Claxton's station, channel, Arty Farty Annie. At the moment she's doing what is it called? The Arty Farty Hearty swap at the moment. We're swapping hearts. And I've just put the names here. Dawn Meldrum. Absolutely beautiful little cat here in this little tiny, with wings. Exquisite. Catherine Magnus. Another exquisite piece. Karen Lee. All the beading and the stitching in there. These are the swaps I received, and I swapped with them too. This one's Christine Oakley, which is Create and Craft with Christine. Catherine Magnus again in round 2. I sent out some, didn't get any in reply to some of them, but that's okay, I'll leave it alone. Leanne Smith is Leanne's Crafty Cupboard. All these little bits extra, these are bits that were included in the parcel. Here's Snoppy or Karen Newell. People who watch Arty Farty Annie, no Snoppy. Maria Ornelas, who's from America. Look at this beautiful one from a friend of mine, close handy here. Robin Cobby. Absolutely stunning. As you can see, I like cats and I like pink. And as you can see, I haven't finished putting them all in. And this one's Annie Claxton's Arty Farty Annie. Isn't it beautiful? Absolutely stunning. Now I have got some pages left over, and I don't do a lot of swaps each time because it's a big job to put them in. And this time we're doing hearts. I've only got a few here at the moment, but I'll show you what I've done so far. Won't tell you who they're for. That's one of my Arty Farty hearts, or Harty Farty, I don't know, Arty Farty hearts, I think. There's another one that I've done, finished. I've made a little baby one to go with each one that's going out, just because they might like to put a little heart in their pocket. Know that somebody loves them. This one's not finished. I've got some more here that haven't been done yet. I won't show them. This one's on the way to being done. So yes, I've got a little bit more work to do, but hey, that's got months yet before it's got to all be out. So yeah, this is Annie Claxton. This is Arty Farty Annie, and this is the Arty Farty Harty swap. Check it out if you want. She's got a Facebook group too. But that's that one. Now this book here, no, book cover, is velvet. It's just loose. And I've just made the inserts to be sewn straight into the cover. It's a green book, an art study I was doing just about green. I haven't finished it, and I'll go on to another colour. These are just things that I was doing, just like this. But yeah, I make this loose covers and then decide what they're going to be. So there's two of them. Now these two books I've made, but I haven't put anything in them yet. This cover is a collaged cover, and I've embroidered on here Rachel from Roxy Creations told us about a book that she was using, and I had to have it because I got to have the books. And I wanted to do a piece. I'm not known for doing pieces in neutrals, so I wanted to do a neutral cover, and then I put a little bit of colour on there. But this little book is a Japanese book, Kazuko Aoki, Embroidered Wildflowers, and this is beautiful pieces in here. Where are you? Absolutely beautiful leaves. Yeah, a little bit like that. Flowering grasses. I didn't put the little birdie in. Anyway, that cover, and I've done a concertina pages here in just calico. There's 12 pages if you count the front and the back. And I've left it unstitched with the page to go in the back and attached to there. And then if I want to, this is the front attachment. So they're just there ready to go when I have another challenge that needs a book. The book is made. Same with this book. It's another little book I made. These silk paintings with the butterflies on, oh, I just love them. I beaded it, I've embroidered it. And the cover is a piece of an old vest I had. This part on the top, and this was the skirt, and there's lots of it. So that piece, I've used a piece of quilting cotton to bind it. And because the pages I cut were bigger than the book cover, I put a little bit of a doily on the back of here with the lace hanging over. Made it into a big pocket. That's the blanket I used inside. And I've got 12 pages in this one too. They're stitched in, but they're very lightly stitched. A knot, a knot, a knot. So it just takes that to clip it and take them out. So another pocket on this side. And they're ready to go for another project somewhere down the line. This one here is what started me off doing slow stitching. I decided to clean up my crafting area. And I found all these things that I'd quilted over the years. This was an entry in a competition. I didn't win, but anyway, it was my entry. It's too big for this little book I've made. Little book, big book I've made. I'll have to think about that. This is the cover I've made for this book. And it's got beads, motifs from Indian things. It's got embroideries, a bit of cantha stitching, outlining these little birdies, putting little pieces of lace flower on there, bits of braid, stitched down a butterfly on a bit of velvet here. That's all tiny wee sequins. Another piece of some Indian braid, more